Republican presidential candidate and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said this week that former President Trump's taunts regarding his last name are petty and juvenile. I think it's so petty. I think it's so juvenile. I don't think that's what voters want, DeSantis told Jack Heath on the Pulse of New Hampshire. Trump recently mocked DeSantis for the pronunciation of his last name and referred to the Florida governor as Ron DeSanctimonious. It's a nickname the former president frequently uses. DeSantis told Heath that Trump's behavior is one of the reasons why he lost the 2020 presidential election. Honestly, I think that his conduct, which he's been doing for years now, I think that's one of the reasons he's not in the White House now, because I think he alienated too many voters for things that really don't matter, DeSantis said. So I don't get into the gutter on any of that. The Florida governor said there were substantive differences between him and the former president, but he added he still thinks Trump did a lot of great things. I still give him credit for the great things he did, but he's attacking me on policy where we have a disagreement, and I'm the one that's in the right on this, he said. DeSantis cited Trump recently saying that the former New York governor, Andrew Cuomo, did a better job than DeSantis on handling the COVID pandemic. Florida boomed as one of the nation's foremost freedom zones, he said, referring to New Yorkers moving to Florida during the pandemic. We fought Trump's own administration to make sure our kids would be in school and our businesses could be open. DeSantis said he thinks the attacks involving Cuomo is a huge mistake. DeSantis is beginning to sharpen his attacks against Trump now that both men are officially running for president. Look, if someone is saying that, I'm going to counterpunch and I'm going to fight back on it, DeSantis told reporters in Iowa on Tuesday. I'm going to focus my fire on Biden, and I think he should do the same. He gives Biden a free pass. I'm focusing on Biden. That's my focus. So I can look at this objectively and say, even though I do think Trump's nicknames are funny, or at least, for the most part, I find them entertaining. They are juvenile. They are childish. They are unbecoming of a presidential candidate. But this is why people like DeSantis end up having their own remarks backfire on themselves. So Trump's been making nicknames for people ever since he ran for president the first time in 2015, and then, into the following year and won in 2016. And DeSantis was given an endorsement by Trump when he ran for governor in 2018 in the Republican primary. He didn't seem to have a problem with being around a guy who nicknames his opponents at that point. It never appeared to be an issue or something that he was bothered by during the 4 years of his first term as governor, and Trump was president for 2 of those years. He never came out and said, hey, I wish he would stop calling people names. Only when it's finally directed towards him as the two are battling for the Republican nomination does he suddenly take an issue with this. As far as this being one of the reasons that Trump isn't in the White House anymore, I think that's total hogwash. I think most voters are substantive. So even if there's ones who don't like the types of things that Trump says, that are not presidential or don't behave as well as they would like, if they feel as if that politician is going to do something for them or is doing an okay job or whatever, I think they'll look past it. I mean, how did he win the first time when he was calling, Clinton crooked Hillary and crazy Bernie and lying Ted? I mean, low energy Jeb. These are all things that he said and was able to win during the first election. And during the second one, 2020, I think there were other factors like his handling of the pandemic that played a role in him not being able to win re-election, along with these extremely low approval ratings that a lot of people just wanted him out of there. So where Trump said that Cuomo handled the virus better than DeSantis, I absolutely agree. Cuomo is a weasel, a snake, every term you want to use. But New York was hit with that horrible disease more than any other state at the start of it, at least. And he buckled down. Now, again, we can get into our criticisms about him lying about the numbers of people that were dying, for example, in these retirement homes. But my point is, I would still prefer his handling over DeSantis. I would. And I think Trump is not wrong for pointing that out. It may be politically motivated because he's running against DeSantis for nomination, but I think he's making a lot of sense. Now, what's funny is where DeSantis said that he thinks like there are substantive differences between him and Trump. This is hilarious because I swear I've watched at least 20 or 30 different DeSantis interviews and not during a single one. Even during that debate prep footage that was leaked earlier, or that was released earlier this year, I should say, where he was for his 2018 re-election, 2018 campaign for governor. They asked, one of the reporters asked him, "Hey, do you disagree with Trump on anything?" Well, obviously, because I have votes against him in the Congress. But what are these substantive disagreements? And that's why I said that every Republican in this race, and DeSantis really is the first loser because he's the one that has the highest chance of actually being able to win against Trump, but still isn't willing to do all that it takes to get there. If you have substantive disagreements with the only person running that has lost to the incumbent president, why the hell would you not tell us what those are? Why would you not say, you know what, I like some of the things Trump did, but I would improve this, nothing. He has no substance. His entire campaign is defeating woke, and I have a problem with LGBT people and all this other crap that is not substantive in the slightest. Again, Trump is no friend of people that I guess would in policy be of the same ilk. Like, for example, banning transgenders from serving in the military, which was insane. But at the very least, in a Republican primary especially, he knows how to hunker down on the immigration issue and say, oh, they're taking your jobs and, oh, they're invading or whatever. And, mass hysteria over that. And, oh, we have these insane Republicans that are trying to cut Social Security and Medicare. And if I get in there, I'm going to stop them, even though I tried to do the exact same thing when I was president. But shh, be very, very quiet. So at the very least, he can make it sound like he actually has several policy ideas, even if it's all stuff that you have to wonder why he didn't do it in the first damn place, that he can bring into effect if he gets a non-consecutive second term and becomes Grover Cleveland 2.0. Whereas DeSantis is too afraid to directly and forcefully go after the person that's his main competitor, talking about, I want to run, I'm focusing on Biden. Why? You haven't even won a single state yet. For all DeSantis knows, he could lose Iowa, then lose New Hampshire, and then get creamed on Super Tuesday, and then there goes his presidential campaign. It's all over in a matter of weeks. So that's why I said he really needs to start hammering Trump, because Trump's been able to hammer him for months, and that's one of the reasons why you had some polls back at the start of the year and late last year where DeSantis was leading. He was the front runner, and he still technically is a front runner, but after all these months of Trump just and DeSantis sitting back, well, I would like to focus on my agenda and the Florida legislative session. That's why he's losing, because he's too afraid, just like the rest of the Republicans in this primary, except for maybe Christie if he gets in, to directly combat Trump, to directly go after him and say, hey, what I don't agree with you on this, that, or the other. You lost to Biden. You're the only person that lost to this old man, doesn't even know where he is. He won't do it because he doesn't want to upset Trump's voters. He's a coward. He is a person who was able to get you know what? We should, from now on, I'm just going to call DeSantis the person, the governor of one of the largest states in America, who is one of the biggest cowards in America, because he's too afraid to criticize his main competitor for the Republican nomination for president, a job that he sleeps and dreams about getting, but he won't do any of the hard work and necessary shots required to get it. It's sad.